Okay, I'm gonna call the November 14th Board of Election to order. We need roll call.
Controller Wickham,
Here.
Sam Milkis,
Here.
Dale Sabatish.
Okay, at this time, item number 3 is public comment. Is there anybody online
Yes,
with their hand?
yes, we do.
Okay, I'm gonna go with Teresa first.
Oh, okay. My name is
We-
Teresa Myers.
We try to limit public comment to 2 minutes.
Okay, I'll make it.
No problem.
My name is Teresa Myers, and I live in Upper Mifflin Township. When I told the group I belonged to that I was coming here today, they asked for me to ask if the Bureau of Elections can do something similar that York County does, which in addition to providing the election results in a PDF, they provided in a CSV or Excel or an Excel file. And the person wanted this because they manipulate the data and it's easier. So I just brought this from, I'll give it to Bethany.
Okay.
And the main reason I came was I requested a committee person's list.
Yes.
And I understand there was a reason that the Board of Elections needed to make that was no longer going to be kept by the Bureau of Elections. So I requested to the Cumberland County Republican Committee, because it was the Republican committee list that I wanted, and I want to read their answer. And I also informed them why I was asking them. Good afternoon, Nate and Teresa. We have a process for sharing of the committee member list that does include approval of intended purpose of the request. Once approved, a non-disclosure agreement must be signed. Given the recent decision, I informed them of this, of the Bureau of Election, Board of Elections, that they are no longer keeping the list at all. We have not defined a process for providing limited information, name, address, precinct, similar to what the Bureau of Elections made available. This item has been added to our executive board meeting until a decision is made regarding what, and I emphasize this, if anything can be made public. I do not have permission to share this information. I'm here. The government sometimes is called on to do things that other people won't do. So I'm asking you to reconsider, because the committee that is responsible for the list doesn't seem like they're going to bring it up because I brought it to their attention. But this part where she put if anything. So I find it odd because they give endorsements, but the public won't even know who the committee people are that are making the endorsement suggestion. But anyways, I'm just asking for you to reconsider that decision, because not just the voters, anybody in the community who wants to know who a committee person is, other than elected and going through all the results, won't be able to know who is appointed. I'm just asking that you reconsider it as a service to.
You know, the list we kept was just furnished to us by the party.
That's what I mean, but they're not willing. I think they believe that somehow it was necessary for them to inform the Board of Elections of this. I know they're an independent organization. They can do with what they want with their member list, but they did provide it because they had previously provided. I used to send the list, remember Beth? Oh yeah, I used to send the list in 2019 to Bethany, letting her know who had been appointed. So I'm familiar with what the process was. I used to email it. I just wanted to bring this to your attention. I brought this, I would like it entered in the minutes, their response and my thing to them. I'd like it as an attachment, because I think it's important that if people want to search around, they know that they're not willing to share this information. I'm asking you, I came here to ask you to reconsider. They provide, for some reason, they felt it was necessary to provide to you. They did that, though not in a timely fashion, maybe not an accurate fashion, but that's why I'm here. That's it.
Thank you for your comments.
Yeah.
We'll certainly address that. You want to address it now, or? I think at this point, I think we were pretty much solid that we weren't going to do that list, because it puts us in a spot that we don't need to be in.
Okay.
It seems to me, if the party has that list, they should be willing to give it to whoever wants the list. It's a private thing. It's not anything to do with the county.
Simply, it's the list that they provide to us. So I guess they're saying it's okay for us to give it out, but not for them to give it out. And
That's
I have an issue with that. But we have no requirement or,
I understand it's not an obligation.
right.
I understand. I'm just asking that you do it as, they felt, for some reason, they felt it like they had to or were willing to provide that to you guys. And you guys were kind enough without a lot of requirements, honored a request for it. Bethany always gave it to us. But now it looks, I brought it to their attention that it was no longer going to be available.
Yeah.
That was not known to them. And
They were informed,
well,
just so you know.
okay, well, they
Both party chairs were informed we were no longer keeping.
well, maybe the person who sent me that email wasn't informed. She's the corresponding secretary and she keeps the list.
The problem is, we have no way of confirming that that's an accurate list to start with. That's what got us into the situation we were in recently. That's
Okay,
why we decided not to keep it.
okay, I understand. I just wanted to
Anyway.
express my feelings.
Thank you for your comment.
Hopefully that person was just exercising an abundance of caution.
I hope so. But my experience tells me it probably won't be made available.
That's a shame.
That's why I came here in hopes that I could persuade you. If I was confident that they would share the same information that they shared with Bethany, there would be no reason. I would still have access to the information as would anybody.
But you don't know if the information was accurate or not.
No, that's right. And I won't know if they decide to share something that's accurate, but at least it's something better than being hidden.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Do we need to do anything procedurally for this to be made a part of the minutes, or is it?
It's just attached to your minutes, which would be approved at your next meeting. And we've had requests from members of the public before for this, and, you know, various letters and other things have been attached.
Next person.
Yeah.
Your name?
Chris Sheffield, and I'm an attorney from Shippensburg. I've lived in Cumberland County for 27 years. I think I've practiced law for 23 of those. I ran for office 20-some years ago. This is all going somewhere. Lost then. Ran for office this spring and lost. I've had some involvement with the Bureau of Elections office in Bethany. And I just rise to say, in some capacity, I've dealt in my 20 years practicing law with nearly every facet of government in Cumberland County. And I just want to publicly, I've privately told Bethany when I've been in the office, but what an outstanding job the Bureau of Elections does. Every issue that I've come up with has been handled professionally, given me the right information, the correct way to go. If they don't know, they tell you they don't know, lead you in the right direction, find the statute. But Bethany, I want to just say publicly what I've told you privately. What an outstanding job, I think. If everything was run like the Bureau of Elections, I think we'd all be happy.
You're got a good point there.
And so I wanted to just rise and thank you, even though I've been unsuccessful.
So neat.
But I just wanted to, it doesn't go unnoticed. Thank you.
Thank you for
Thank you
that.
very much.
And I know we share those. views.
Yes, we do. We certainly do. Sir? No comment?
We have a CM with their hand raised.
CM?
A CM.
ACM, do you have any comment? Public comment? She have her hand up?
She does, they do, and I have now I have to allow them to talk.
Okay, you're online now, so go ahead and speak.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Hi, my name is Caroline Macharaju, and I just wanted to go on record with some serious concerns I have about the reliability and the trustworthiness of our voter machines in Cumberland County. As you probably know, our county uses the same machines that are used in Northampton County. They're called the ES&S Express Vote XL voting system. Northampton County had a serious malfunction last Tuesday where the voters' votes on whether to retain Judges Stabile and Pinella showed on their voters' receipt the opposite of how they actually voted. Ultimately, media accounts said that a coding or programming error was blamed, and voters were assured that even though it appeared that way on their receipt, the votes were recorded accurately on the back end. I'm in disbelief that these machines even have the capacity to reverse votes in this way. A local political blogger captured my same feelings when she wrote about the Northampton fiasco. She said, if the machines can be coded to change votes, that's a problem. You know, on our Cumberland County BOE website, there's verbiage that reads, the Express Vote XL voting machines produces an independent voter verifiable paper record. I'm sorry, it doesn't anymore. The optics is blown. What us voters see through that little window and what the computer is recording on the back end could be two totally different things. I truly don't know how my vote is recorded. This never really felt good, right for me, these machines, and I've never had the language to put it into words, but now that Northampton's machines have been exposed, now I do. I also want to note for the record that Northampton County also had malfunctions in these machines in 2019. So how many times will the issues be minimized and voters be told it's an isolated issue? Trust us this time. It kind of feels like our trust is in this anonymous person who made the human error, which is what was in media accounts on the coding component. So who is that person? And why should 200,000 plus voters put their trust in him or her? How does Cumberland County know that our election numbers are honest and accurate? We don't, not since these machines have been in operation. Everything at this point is optics, and the optics are blown. Even the logistics and accuracy testing, it's good optics, it makes for good headlines, but that's clearly just for show because they did some testing in Northampton. I certainly don't blame anyone in this room. There are actors way above us, way above all of us that are influencing our elections, I believe. It's time to consider removing these machines and value accuracy over efficiency. I'm really glad this was exposed in Northampton County because in elections, integrity is everything. And I did have one final question in relation to the August settlement requiring that machine malfunction issues be relayed to the county and to the public ultimately. Whose integrity does that rely on? Is it the judge of elections? And that's all I have, closing with that question. Thank you.
I'm not going to speak for another county's programming issues, which is just simply what it was. The machine was not the system wasn't programmed properly. And that's just a matter of human error, but I can't speak for them or know, what they do, but we have systems in place here. We have all sorts of testing and public testing and risk limiting audits and 2% audits and all sorts of things and we handle our own process when it comes to programming voting machines. Yeah.
I know, I'm convinced that they're very solid machines. No question.
And, I saw that story in the news too, and it concerned me when I read it, but not because of our machines being the same, as any machine would have to be programmed. I mean, the candidates have changed every time. I mean, the programming is not unique to these machines. But what I participated in, even before I was on this temporary position on the board, is being able to go and observe the testing process. And that's, again, I can't speak for that county, but that's where things failed, it seems to me, is human error can occur. But we have a testing process that the public can observe. And we've just heard some high compliments on our director who conducts that. And so I have great confidence in the machines and the oversight of those machines in this county.
As I do.
Same there.
We were actually in office when we chose those machines. we looked at a lot of different machines. And those were the most solid machine I think we could find. Was really above the rest, quite a bit above as far as efficiency, accuracy. But we thank you for your comments. Any other comments? Public comment?
Excuse me, there are two other individuals online. There's a phone number ending in 5515 and an individual going by Joe Schwartz who are sitting, but they have not indicated, they have not raised their hands.
If you want to comment, please raise your hand. Nobody's raising their hand.
I believe Carolyn is raising her hand again.
Carolyn, you have comment?
Right. Am I unmuted?
Yes, you are.
No, the one question I did have though is if there are malfunctions with our machines, you know, who reports that from the poll? You know, is it the judge of elections?
Anyone can report those, voters, judges of election, poll workers, poll watchers. Anybody can report that to our office.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, no other public comment? So we'll go on to item number 4. Approval of the minutes of November 2nd. Can we have a motion to approve those minutes?
I'll make a motion to approve the November 2nd minutes.
We have a second. We have a motion and second. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 5, discussion on approval to accumulate the write-in votes.
Yes, so that's the report you have in front of you here. We had over 9,500 write-ins to go through. In fact, the district attorney and the treasurer, their races alone are 18 pages worth of write-in votes.
Wow.
So it was quite a lot. But the accumulations that we recommend based on what we believe is voter intent is listed in that report there. So we would ask for your approval to accumulate those.
Yes.
Does the public have the right to the access to that?
Yeah.
Question at all, I just.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
And they'll be part of the minutes as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you all have that report in front of you. Can we have a motion to approve the write-in votes cumulative report?
So moving.
We have a second?
Excuse me, I'll second.
Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
I just have a question. If I can ask a question.
Go ahead.
The write-in votes that are mailed in, not election day. So somebody's at the machine, they type somebody's name. But when somebody hand writes in and mails in a write-in vote, those ballots are digitized. Do we have access to see those ballots?
I'm not sure what you're asking.
If somebody,
What he's saying is when we
if some,
vote by mail.
yeah, if somebody votes by mail. And when they're mail-in ballot, they write in a name, hand write it in.
Okay.
We'd like to see those ballots. Right, because I'm not saying there's anything, but you could surmise if somebody somehow sat down and wrote 20 mail-in ballots in their own handwriting. And it's a 2-vote race,
Well, you have
What
to
the challenge
apply,
is.
you have to apply for a mail-in ballot to get a ballot. So there
Right.
aren't just like 20 random
well, I
ballots. hanging
understand,
around.
I understand,
Yeah.
but shenanigans are shenanigans. I'm just saying that it seems to me that we ought to be able to, if you see them, we ought to be able to see them. I understand we can't handle them, can't mess with them, but there's a digitized record of if there was 50 mail-in, write-in votes in a race. We ought to be able to see those handwritten ballots.
When the ballots are scanned, they take an image of them. So that's what he'd like to see. I think he'd like to see
And
the
I'm-
image of the ballot.
Right, and here's my point is, we don't know, I'm not saying this is the case, but I talked to Bethany about it before. This is not the situation, but there's a guy named Tim running, and a guy named Tom running. And somebody looks at the ballot and says, that's for Tom. I may represent Tim. I need to see the ballot because I might want to stand in front of the judge and say, that's not for Tom, that's for Tim.
If it was a close race.
Yeah, and if I can't see the ballot, how can I possibly do that? So I need to be able to see the handwritten write-in ballots to make
So-
sure the name was
So you're talking about the mail-in ballots,
Mail-in
not the
ballots.
machine ballots.
Machine ballots, they're listed on the print act.
They're on the results.
Right, and so what I'm saying is there's no public way to verify unless without physically seeing the digitized ballot that we can agree or disagree with the close race. I represent a guy in Hopewell Township who haven't looked at it, but was down 8 or 9 votes. There's 39 mail-in ballots. I want to see the 39 mail-in ballots so that I can verify and tell him, yep, they in fact are good, or no, we have a problem with them.
So what you can do, and my name is Jen Hip, and I'm the county's assistant solicitor. What you're able to do, and there's a section in our election code that provides for this, is to make a request to come to the election bureau to inspect or look at those ballots. And you can see the actual paper ballots themselves. And that, I think, is a process that you would permit. And you could take, for example, that accumulation report and contrast it with the ballots that you'd like to inspect and, see if you have any questions or whatever the case is. So that process happens by appointment. And, there would be, just due to the nature of the documents that you or anyone else would be inspecting. I think you said you're a Cumberland County resident, if I recall correctly, because this process is available to county residents pursuant to the code. There'd be someone from the election bureau who would be there with you, of course, just for security of the paper ballots
Yeah,
themselves.
that's, I couldn't ask for anything more. I think we have to, but I think it's not gonna hold you to it. I think it's 7 days to challenge anything you want to. So do I have to make a written request? Can I just make a request? How do I?
Make an appointment.
Yeah,
Right.
want to contact Bethany's office, you have to make an appointment.
Yep, no, that's,
Are you
Yeah,
talking
we-
about the 2-year supervisor
Yes.
race? It's 253 for Tyler Gamble and 248 for Danny Forrester.
right. Yes, we're 5 votes.
Oh.
And that's the question, right? And I have no doubt that it was done properly, but I must be diligent. So,
All right,
thank you. You can't be more above board than that. I appreciate it.
okay, next item is item number 6. Discussion on approval of action concerning the provisional ballots. Also, your point.
Yes. So there were 153 total.
Yes.
Okay. 153 total. My recommendation is that 130 fully count. So the majority of those were people who had applied for a mail-in or absentee ballot, didn't return it in time, or maybe they didn't receive it from the post office. So they were able to vote provisionally at their polling location, which then gives me time to research, hey, did they vote any other way? Did we get their ballot in the mail? Whatever. We did not. So I would recommend that those fully count. We have 2 here for partially counted. Those are individuals who live in the county, but not in the precinct where they voted. So their ballots will partially count. So like statewide, countywide offices. And then 21 rejected. Majority of those are people who are either not registered or are registered in a different county.
But they had a mail-in ballot?
No, they went to their
Oh, they
polling
went-
place
they
and
went to
then,
the-
yeah, and they weren't on the list and we said, sorry, they're not registered here. They're registered in, Franklin County or something.
So they had.
So they voted provisionally, but yeah.
Okay, interesting. Any other discussion on the provisional ballots? Could we have a motion to approve this action?
So the motion would be to approve your dispensation of those provisional ballots.
Correct, yes, it would, would you like me to suggest a motion with that?
That would be helpful.
It would be to accept the provisional ballot count by status pursuant to the report prepared by Bureau of Elections.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
And I so moved. Second.
I will second it.
Have a motion second. Any other discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed, motion carries. Next is discussion and approval of action concerning the military.
Yeah, so the military ballots have a little additional time that they're allowed to get here. Obviously, based on the fact that most people are pretty far away. So as long as the ballot was postmarked by November 6th and arrived by today's mail, that was to be counted as part of our results. So that's what these are here.
Okay. So again, we need a motion to approve the action concerning the military ballots.
I so moved. And I assume that's why we're meeting at 2. We waited for today's.
Yes, we waited, correct. Yep, this meeting's always a little later for that reason.
We have a motion, we have a second.
I'll second it.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed, motion carries. Discussion approval of lay the result books on display.
Yes, so they're there in front of you. There is a summary. Because of all the write-ins, we couldn't fit it all in one book. So there's a summary result book and then a precinct by precinct result book. The summary has all the write-ins in there. So we would just ask for your approval and signatures today so that we can put them on display for anyone who would like to view them before they're certified.
So that's where we need a motion to approve to lay the result books on display.
We'll move.
We have a motion second. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed, motion carries. One more, item number 9, discussion approval to submit the unofficial results to the Department of State.
Yes, and that's just the paper there. I'll need a signature on that. That's due to the state at 5 o'clock. That's only for the statewide races and retentions. They need all of that today, so then they can determine if there needs to be an automatic recount for any of the races. Doesn't look like it, but you know, that's what's going on. Yeah.
So does somebody want to make a motion in that regard to submit the unofficial results to the Department of State?
I'll move that we submit the unofficial results to the Department of State.
We have a second?
I'll second that.
Any other discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed, motion carries. We're ready to direct our updates. Did you have something you wanted to have public comment or you're just?
No, Your Honor, sir. That is just coming.
Now, Director.
Okay, so just a few quick things. I did want to point out that our results in our result book, Lower Allen Township Commissioner is a tie for the 3rd spot. We thought maybe the provisional ballots, it was a tie election night, and so we thought maybe the provisional ballots and military might make the difference. Well, it did, except it's still a tie. So anyway, so because of that, we will have to have a casting of lots for the winner. So we will have that November 21st after the certification of the election results, and we will notify the 2 individuals involved in writing when that will be, if they would like to come and draw their number. So.
They can draw it or they can have a representative.
Yes, or they can have a representative, yeah. So I just wanted to point that out because it was a tie. I just want to say Election Day was a very successful day. Everything went really well, really smooth. There was a higher than normal turnout for a municipal election. We had 37%. In 2019 and 2021, it was 32%. So something brought people out this time. So that was kind of nice. And also just to thank all the county employees who helped on election day and election night and all of that. We were able to get the mail-in and absentee results on the website by 8:30 at night, and we were able to have all election results and everything on the website completed and done by 10:30. So it's pretty amazing, and certainly couldn't do that without them. So
Well,
that's all I think.
we have to appreciate what your staff does. And if any of you have ever attended their training, it's very thorough. And I think we're very proud of what you accomplish every year to get done with this election. Thank you again. Okay, we have a request to go into executive session for security issues. We're going to be coming out of that without any motion, so we'll be adjourning the meeting.
So we leave now.
Yeah.
We have 2 hands raised online.
Okay. What do you think?
To you.
Okay, we're going to limit it to 2 minutes each. Let's go with it. Who is it?
Okay. We have a hand raised by an individual that came in, John Cobb, and then Carolyn also raised her hand again, but John came in first.
John, you have 2 minutes. Can you hear us?
Yes, I
John.
can, and I hope that you can hear me.
We can hear you.
Yes.
Okay,
You have 2
great.
minutes.
John Cobb, Lemoyne, and some of you may remember me from coming in with the 373 Dickinson votes and my frustration with the Bureau for not being able to work with those. So then that's just by way of introduction. I was at the at the central counting facility on election day, watching the mail ballots be counted, and was very impressed by the professionalism, the smooth flow, just the obvious careful thought to process and procedures that made it an easy process in which they got through, I don't know, somewhere 3:30. It was really enjoyable to see, and I didn't notice any issues that caused me to say, hey, wait a minute, what's going on? So kudos to Bethany. Last item. Yeah. So well done. Well, great job. Very pleased to see how well it was run. In regards to Carolyn Maharaju's item in regards to the other county, the only comment I can make is that there's 3 programming steps on those machines. One is to program what the user sees on the screen. The other is to program the printed text that the user reads. You know, if I ran for office, it would say John Cobb. And then the third step is for the barcodes. So those 3 items can in fact be independent. And so those machines, as terrific as they are, could through error not present to the user what the user believes they are voting. And that's all I wanted to share. And thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, John. And then Carol, you say, has her hand raised again?
Yes, I'm allowing her to speak.
Hey, Carol. we can hear
Thank you for allowing me to ask an additional question. I may have missed this because I drifted in the middle of the meeting, but with the additional provisional ballots, et cetera, that came in, did any of the unofficial, I guess, results change? And when will they be official?
So the results will be on our website and they will include the provisionals, the military, everything we talked about today, write-ins, accumulations, all of that. They'll be on our website this afternoon as soon as I can get back to the office. And then they will be official next Tuesday
after our meeting.
after a Board of Election meeting, which I believe is 10 o'clock.
And can you say if any of the results changed the races that were announced in the media, for example?
I don't believe so, but I don't know. There's hundreds and hundreds of races, so you'll have to check the results yourself.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, at this point, I'm looking for a motion to adjourn. We are going to go into executive session for this, but we're going to adjourn.
There will be no action.
Oh, okay, so we'll just.
You can adjourn the meeting. There would be no action that would be necessitated by the executive session.
So do we have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
I'll move that we adjourn. Into executive.
Do we have a second? Second. All in favor? Okay, meeting's adjourned. We're going to go into executive session. Thank you for attending.
Thank you.